Thank you for joining this session. So my name is Seung-Yi Jin, Executive Vice President of Tmax. So I will walk you through the whole journey of Tmax story here. So you may have a question on the title, who's next? So you can find the solution right after this session, all right? The agenda would be like this. So I will introduce about the Tmax history, and then after then I will explain our approach to develop the groundbreaking cloud solutions for data and application. And then I'm going to introduce two speakers, including myself, and then my partner in AWS, Marta Whitaker, who is the director of ISV Alliance. So she will introduce a kind of the strategic value between Tmax and AWS. So please.
Thank you. Hello, a warm welcome to all of you for joining today. I'm here to kick off the session and delighted to be doing that. I would like to kick it off for one of our top partners who is leading and shaping really the digital landscape. My name is Marta Whitaker, and I run the business for our technology partnerships. That's really the ISV business across EMEA and APJ, and that also includes the AWS Marketplace. I would like to, as I said, introduce our top partner, Tmax, who has really shaped the technology landscape, but is really also driving and pushing the boundaries of innovation. At AWS, we have a partner journey that's really split into build, market, and sell. And so in each of these phases, our partners are providing the expertise, the specialty, and AWS collaboration. We've been working with Tmax for over 10 years, and since 2015, Tmax has been really one of the top performers in each of these phases and in the collaboration. The products from Tmax can be found in our solution library and also within AWS Marketplace. With the AWS Marketplace, I'm not sure if many of you are familiar with it. It was one of Ruba's keynote, our VP of the partner organization, one of her key messages yesterday. But with AWS Marketplace, you can find, buy, and deploy a product very quickly, much like an AWS native services, which is what you can do with Tmax products today. Also, Tmax has optimized on Graviton 2 and is operating across some very diverse customer AWS environments. Now, when I first learned about Tmax and some of the accomplishments that you're doing with leading technologies, I had the idea that there could be a convergence with AWS Cloud and a lot of the innovation coming out of Tmax. And I was thinking, how this could really come together in a collaborative partner journey.
Yes.
And I believe that, it really can drive this journey. I believed it really could drive the promise of the digital future. And so today, I would like to get ready to delve into the synergy, the innovation, the possibilities that has arisen from this collaboration.
Okay.
And welcome to a great session. And I'd like to hand the mic over to you with the CEO of Tmax Cloud, Seung-Yi Jin.
Yes, thank you. Great introduction. All right, let's get started for the journey. Okay. So actually, Tmax is 30 years old and contributed to the software industry of Korea by making market-leading solutions for middleware, database, and OS software. And then historically, Tmax has focused on the system software part in the first 20 years, and the next 10 years to build integrated system and platform software for super app. At this point, you may have a question on this. What is a super app, right? So the super app mentioned here is not a big app containing multiple services and applications for end user. Tmax has focused on the development of integrated system and platform software for the next generation application. I mean, Tmax wanted to give superpower to our customer to build their own app with integrated AI, data, and metaverse integrated on cloud. That's the final vision of our super app provided by Tmax. So, I already mentioned here, Tmax has focused on the groundbreaking why to reinvent cloud platform and full stack for that kind of innovation. So let me start from the background of that kind of insight. Everybody knows application modernization is quite essential for enterprises to accelerate their pace of digital transformation, right? So as you can see from here, there are four generations of application. First and second generation cover legacy application, for example, mainframe-based or Unix-based applications. After then, at this moment, our focus is on the open application, open app, based on Linux. So, but with a super app, productivity of application generation would be accelerated. So that will be the another version of open app. So Tmax is going to drive this paradigm change for our customer. So I had this kind of practice with my customer. I asked our customer, what is your, the critical issue for cloud transformation? So most of enterprise customer said application migration. That's why we have this number. So you may notice this number from the articles of analysts. So only 15 to 20% of our workloads are on cloud at this moment. So we have to drive our IT industry to complete the 100% cloud transformation, right? So what is the secret source for that? I'm going to go deeper into the cloud migration issue at this moment. So we can elaborate more than three for the difficulties of cloud migration, but I'm going to highlight just three. So high migration costs coming from the manual operation for the migration job, and then massive open source would cause the problem to hinder application migration on cloud. And then I think we are lack of truly platform virtualization. So I'm going to explain what is the platform virtualization in here, but please wait for a moment because I have a slide deck to explain that kind of thing. And then I'm going to highlight the concept of cloud native. So I think you already know the concept of cloud native, but to recap, by definition, cloud native is the software approach for building, deploying, managing applications in cloud environment, right? But that's the, textual definition for that. But I'd like to highlight the actual benefits of cloud native transformation. Would be like this. So 3 benefit points: flexibility, scalability, and resiliency. But how to complete this, how to achieve these brilliant and great benefits from the cloud native transformation? Secret source has been hidden from this slide because I'd like to give you credit points to know the secret source for that. So the 2 concepts are necessary to complete this kind of cloud native transformation: integration and virtualization. Number 1, integration is going to integrate distributed resources and platform software across the platform environment, a cloud environment, right? We have to make that kind of goal from the cloud native transformation. And then second, the virtualization is to hide complex details behind the simple use. That's the secret source. So I'm going to focus on those two concepts: integration, virtualization, through whole story of my presentation. Let's look into the current status quo of cloud native. So I can say we already achieved virtualization and integration for infrastructure. So you can leverage the cloud infrastructure for the easy use of compute, network, and storage, right? But what about middleware, database, and application development platform? We don't have, right? Without these critical critical components, we cannot achieve 100% cloud transformation. So that's the theoretical and technical background of the birth of Tmax CLAS. CLAS stands for Cloud or Services. Cloud or Services CLAS. So I'm going to explain the meaning of all service here, like this. All service will cover engine part and development and task tools and automated operation and management for cloud services across the every piece of layers: platform, application, infrastructure. So that's the meaning of real meaning of all services. And then, as you can see from here, Tmax CLAS will rely on the EOS provided by AWS. Then we will provide the real virtualization of platform, database, and application development for the explosive migration to cloud transformation for our customer. That's our vision and objective for Tmax CLAS. Conceptually, CLAS consists of 3 layered core parts. Number 1, application or services, APaaS. Second, plus platform or services, the last but not least, database all services, DBOS. So we have 3 key pillars to achieve that kind of great vision. And then one more. You can find the right-hand side integration. Who will do that? Tmax will do that. So we invented a new tool for IT all management. So our IT all management has a standard way to manage every piece of components deployed by CLAS. So we have 4 key pillars to implement that kind of vision. All right. So I have 3 more sections. First section, we cover how to innovate the application development leveraging CLAS. So I already mentioned the name of APaaS, Application or Services. I'll touch on the APaaS at the first section. And then in the second section, I'm going to touch the real value of cloud-native database named DBOS, Database All Services. And the final section, I'm going to explain the key concept of IT all management and automated operation and management for cloud. And then at the last section, I'm going to cover new MSP way for cloud migration, operation, and maintenance. So, in APaaS, you can find the 2 sections in here: application development and test, and application operation. For new application development, Tmax will provide true full no-code way of application development by leveraging cloud-native solutions. You can find it at the left-hand side. And then Tmax is going to provide the automated application migration for legacy one. I mean, let me give you some example on this. Some customers from financial industries and the public sector industries, they have mainframe-based applications, right? Tmax has invented migration tool from pure mainframe software to Java-based application. So we already deployed that kind of solution to the global country. So you may have a chance to join the mainframe modernization summit in this conference. In there, details about the mainframe application migration was explained. All right, and then that's the number 1. And then Tmax has achieved number 1 record of WAS, Web Application Server Solution, in Korea and then global space. So we have solutions for that. So that will cover the Java Enterprise Standard specification. After then, Tmax have dived into the trend change of application server. That's why we reinvented the web application server to cover native application server 1. So we have those 2 are key examples for legacy application migration by leveraging APaaS. What about test side? In APaaS, we have source code analysis tool, but I can say at this moment, most of software vendor have focused on the file-based source code management and analysis, stuff like that. But Tmax changed that way from file-based to database-based solutions. So you can imagine like this. If you put a source code into the APAS, that will be dissected into keywords and stuff like that. That will be stored in a database with abstract syntax style. So that is the second secret source. And then we have a great solution for task debugging from the source code level and the runtime level. So there's we made the linkage between those two. And then we have a CI/CD already embedded in the task environment. So with that, our customer can do every operation and process job for application development without leaving cloud environment. So that is the key point for this. What about operation? In the operation side, we have to touch 2 points, runtime and management. So Tmax class has this kind of a consistent way of architecture. Every layer has independent and separate management plane, control plane. So as you can see from here, for APAS, we have application master. Application master will cover every process and operation to manage the application. And then in the runtime, we are providing the solution for open app and super app. So, and then we will provide the runtime environments for legacy applications after transforming to the cloud native, the mode before cloud native, stuff like that. All right. So this slide is the one-pager, summary one-pager to explain what I have explained in this session. So APAS will cover every process of application development from code development to, and then development lifecycle management, and then client and server side integrations like that. Right? This is the final slide for APAS. I already mentioned the APAS will touch upon the migration automation for application, right? So this view graph explains the normal process of automated application migration. But you have to focus on in the front end, 2 parts, source code analysis with analyze the regions. Tmax class automatically provide platform recommendation. Which platform, which middleware, which database would be great for your application. That's the key point for the APAS migration provided by Tmax class. So that's the quick summary of deeper dive part of APAS. All right? Then I have just one slide to explain a platform all service Plus. So Plus is designed to provide integration and virtualization of middleware platform software to run application. So as you can remember from the previous slide, APAS automated migration solution provided by APAS is going to provide the platform recommendation, right? So with that, Plus will be 100% confident with that kind of platform recommendation. So that means Plus will provide every piece of platform parts from guest OS, platform OS, and middleware platform. And then we have independent and separate parts for the control plane, platform master. Let me switch gear from application, cloud native application part of Tmax CLAS to cloud native data management. This is the the primary questions when it comes to application development on top of cloud. So you will have this kind of question. Which database type would be fit for my application? SQL, NoSQL, or OLAP, OLTP? But as you know, if you choose one of these, you have to pick a right solution to cover this usage, right? For NoSQL, you may choose MongoDB, or for document style of database use, you may choose DynamoDB coming from AWS, right? But that would be a very difficult job for application developer to work on that kind of platform selection and stuff like that. So Tmax DBOS, DB All Service, will solve this problem by providing the various way of interface to database. SQL, NoSQL, OLAP, OLTP, in the same architecture of database engine itself. And then for the development, as you can see from here, it's quite difficult to set up the development environments with a specific database. So Tmax DBOS wanted to simplify the kind of process of setup for database. That would be a virtualization of, that would be one of the key features for virtualization of a database. And in operation side, Tmax DBOS wanted to provide the issue monitoring and resolution by leveraging automated way of management. So I can summarize the key features of DBOS like this. So number one, cloud native database, DBMS. I already mentioned the definition for cloud native, right? Integration and virtualization. So Tmax DBOS has implemented the real integration and virtualization for database. So that's why I called the cloud native DBMS in here. And then DBOS will provide the whole spectrum of interface for the database, SQL, NoSQL, and all types of data. And then DBOS will provide the APAS integration with DBOS. So I already mentioned that integration is essential part for the innovation of cloud, right? So in the Tmax CLAS, every piece of building block, APAS, DBOS will be seamlessly connected to each other, right? So that's the one more value from DBOS. And then finally, DBOS will achieve simplification of the complex database operation and management. So that's the 5 key objectives of DB All Services of DBOS of Tmax class. And then I'm going to highlight 2 more key features coming from DBOS database engine. So number 1 is the active clustering for mission critical workloads. And number 2, DBOS will provide the scalable database systems optimized for cloud environment. I mean, limitedly scale out version of database will be provided by TmaxTibero. So as you can see from here, active clustering, this kind of active clustering is based on the great brand of TmaxTibero. Tmax has created a commercial version of DBMS systems named TmaxTibero. TmaxTibero has this kind of great feature. I can say TmaxTibero active clustering is the only solution other than Oracle RAC to support the mission critical workloads with active cluster. Only one. There's no more options with Oracle RAC and Tibero TAC. So with TAC solution, you can rely on the TmaxTibero to guarantee the optimum performance in the cloud, even in the cloud environment, to achieve the active mode of data access. This is the final slide for the DBOS. TmaxTibero has this kind of great feature, cloud optimized DBMS. So you may have a question on the scalability of database system. Database system has the limitation of scalability based on the original and traditional architecture. So, but Tmax has focused on the groundbreaking and breakthrough to release that kind of limitation of scalability. So you may, this is the last chance for you to have to meet with Tmax technical experts in the booth. So I highly recommend you to visit Tmax booth right after this session, because in there you can hear a bunch of technical details about the cloud optimized DBMS. So how to resolve that kind of scalability limitation issue with a new architecture of database. So I will not touch upon the kind of details in here, because that kind of deep dive will take more than a couple of hours to look into the architecture stuff like that. So I'm going to stop here to explain the cloud optimized DBMS. So I have final section for this session. So I'm going to touch the CLAS automated operations. Tmax put the name of CLAS IT oil management item for that kind of automated operation and management. With ITM, you can see from here, Tmax will provide the global ITM engine that will cover the centralized management of cloud infrastructure, cloud components provided by CLAS. So as you can see from here, you can deploy CLAS in the distributed infrastructure. Even with that, ITM will provide a way to control every piece of issue and the monitoring of infrastructure, platform, application in the standard and same way. That's the key features of CLAS ITM. And then one more. We'll provide the AI-based analytics engine to analyze events, system events, and the application issues. So with that, technical support services will be advanced for automated way, right? So that's the whole key concept behind the CLAS item. Let me go deeper into one more step. You can imagine how to implement the infrastructure management centrally, but with application development, we have to think about this kind of scenario, right? At the left-hand side, there's a source code, right? And then at the right-hand side, you can find the binary and runtime metadata coming from the runtime environment. So at this moment, most of the application developers have to visit two parts independently. Source code part and then runtime environment. So with that, if a problem is coming from the combined issue of runtime part and the source code related to that, most of the application developer would have a problem and difficulties to solve that problem. So with ITM, Tmax CLAS will provide the end-to-end service monitoring, across applications. And then in the event of application failure, well, we will support the issue management at the source code level. So that is the secret source for the advanced application operation and monitoring provided by AWS Tmax CLAS item. Sorry. This is the final slide for my presentation. I'm going to propose new way of cloud operation, system-driven and scalable MSP model. So you can find the keywords over there: automation, integration, and virtualization. Right? So with APOS, DBOS Plus, you can implement the integration and virtualization of cloud components. With ITM and application migration solutions, you can achieve automated operation management. So Tmax CLAS will provide these 5 key pillar components on top of AWS. That's why Martha Whittaker has introduced the value of strategic value of AWS and Tmax. So that's the final slide for my presentation. Right? So I'm truly honored to share Tmax vision, Tmax technical vision, and the core value of brand new solution named Tmax CLAS DBMS. Thank you for your time. So please visit our Tmax booth again to meet with Tmax technical experts to discuss about more details behind the Tmax CLAS. Thank you.